Good evening, everyone. I'm out here once again in one of the higher elevation regions of the Georgia Piedmont, and today I'm picking up right where I left off in my last video. I am searching for the Carolina Spring Salamander. Now, as you can see here, I'm in a really hilly, rocky area here. I have found some nice off-trail ravines to hike up. There's lots of springs and seeps here that should be good habitat for the Carolina Spring Salamander. The challenge is finding one, so I'm going to hike up some of these ravines here and we'll see if we can turn one up. This right here is exactly what I came out here to see today. This is the Carolina Spring Salamander. Now, spring salamanders have a really wide range. They can actually be found as far north as southern Canada, and they reach the southernmost extent of their range down here in the Georgia Piedmont. And the subspecies that lives here is actually the Carolina Spring Salamander. There are also northern spring salamanders, Blue Ridge spring salamanders that live in the Blue Ridge Mountains, as well as Kentucky spring salamanders that are found west of the Appalachians up in Kentucky. Spring salamanders are one of the most cold-tolerant amphibians in the world. You can actually find them with inches of snow on the ground in these spring and seepage areas just like this right here. Now, of course, in the Piedmont of Georgia, it is much warmer year-round than anywhere further north in the spring salamander's range. This is the southernmost extent of their range here, so they don't have to deal with that. But even with that being said, December and January is typically the best time to find these guys, especially the Carolina spring salamanders that live down here. They get increasingly difficult to find as temperatures increase, and you can almost forget finding them outside of wet nights in the summer months. As you can see here, this is a really large salamander. This is pretty average adult size. They can get a bit bigger than this, but you're not going to see many exceeding this length here. One of the coolest things about these spring salamanders is their primary diet actually consists of other salamanders. So they choose to live in these small, rocky, really cool and clean streams here where there is an abundance of smaller salamanders, such as southern two-line salamanders, seal salamanders, spotted dusky salamanders in this case, and those are all typically much more abundant. And the spring salamanders are highly aquatic and highly secretive as well, so you're not going to see many of them. Good morning, everyone. It has been a few days since you last seen me when I was out looking for Carolina spring salamanders, and it is much colder now. It is now the day after Christmas, and I think the low was in the teens last night, maybe 13 or 14 degrees Fahrenheit. But either way, it's super cold outside right now. Everything is frozen. But with that being said, I'm currently driving through the Cumberland Plateau region of extreme northwestern Georgia, and I'm going to be targeting some pretty cool salamanders today that should still be findable despite these cold conditions. I'm going to be doing a little bit of caving as well as checking out some wetlands that are probably frozen solid right now, but maybe I can break through the ice and find something. So with that being said, I'm going to knock out the remainder of this drive and we'll see what we can find. All right, everyone, I just made it here and it is still in the 30s outside. So to kill some time and let it warm up before I go check out some wetlands, I'm going to do a bit of caving here. And as you can see, there's icicles everywhere and it looks super cold down here. But once I get deep enough underground, it will actually be much warmer than the outside temperature here. And that's where I'm hoping to find something. I'm going to slide down here right now. If I can do this and film without breaking my neck. There we go. All right, as you can see, I'm in here now. Still super cold here at the twilight zone. Everything's frozen. Not really expecting to see anything here. But once I go further down here, it's about to get a lot warmer. So I have been in this cave for a while now, and I actually went pretty far back to where I normally see cave salamanders when it is too cold for them to be hanging out here around the twilight zone. And I haven't seen anything yet, so apparently they are somewhere else today. Typically, even during the coldest weather, you can find them active deeper underground, but I guess they're just not out. So I'm going to make my way back to the surface here and head up to some wetlands, and we're going to do some dip netting and see if we can find some amphibians. All right, everyone, this right here is one of my main destination wetlands for the day, and as I predicted, it is almost completely frozen over, but there are a few places here where I can get in and maybe break through the ice and dip net some things. So, of course, it is too cold to find anything on land. At least I would say it is. You never know. But the ground is pretty frozen still, so my best chance is to dip net some of this leaf litter out of here and see if I can turn up some aquatic stuff. So I'm going to get after it here, and we'll see what we can find. So I just broke through the ice and got a big scoop of leaf litter in my net, and honestly I was not expecting to see anything in the first scoop, but right here we have a little larval mole salamander. Now this is a pretty good sized individual to be a larvae, but it doesn't appear to be a paedomorphic adult. There are paedomorph mole salamanders here, also known as neotenic mole salamanders, and that basically means they retain their gills into adulthood because there is more opportunity in the water. As long as the pond doesn't dry up, there's plenty of food, lots of opportunity. So some of the individuals here actually lose their gills and become terrestrial adults, and others keep them. But this one right here appears to just be a larvae that is pretty good sized. Mole salamanders can have pretty long larval periods and just kind of can morph whenever they choose to, or they can choose to retain their gills and become paedomorphs. But yeah, nice little larval mole salamander. I'm going to put this little larvae back here. We'll see if we can find some newts or some paedomorphic adults. There you go, little buddy. So basically what I'm doing here is I am breaking through this ice, making little spots here, and then I'm going underneath and getting as much leaf litter as possible. I actually didn't get much there, but we'll see what it has in it. And then what I'm doing is I'm sifting through it here, and we already have something in the leaves here. Looks like a paedomorphic adult mole salamander. This looks like it may just be a paedomorphic adult mole salamander, so I'm going to put it in here and continue sifting through the leaf litter here. Make sure we don't have any others. And right here we have another one. This is just one scoop breaking through the ice here. Let's get a closer look at these. All right, right here is a closer look at both of these mole salamanders here, and upon further inspection, I think it is safe to say that both of these are in fact paedomorphic adults, and that is exactly what I came to this pond to see today. Again, it's way too cold to find anything on land, but you can get underneath the ice and still find amphibians here. Mole salamanders at this population can either keep their gills into adulthood, like these right here, or they can lose them and become terrestrial adults. So really cool to see. There's often more opportunity in the water for these guys, so they just keep their gills. There's more food, less predators. There's a number of reasons they can do that. One of the things that makes these salamanders so cool is the fact that they can actually reproduce with terrestrial adult mole salamanders. So the adult mole salamanders that went through metamorphosis can actually move to the ponds in the winter months, and these paedomorphic adults are, of course, already in the water. And as long as both are sexually mature, they can actually reproduce and lay eggs in the water just like business as usual. So yeah, really awesome salamanders, really awesome life history. How you can basically have half like this that retain their gills into adulthood, and half that live on land. But yeah, I'm going to get some photos of these mole salamanders here because they are posed perfectly, and put them back in the water, and we'll see if we can find anything else. see what we got here. Haha! Eastern Newts. I think that might actually be a pair. I'm going to put them in the water here. We'll get a closer look. Yep, there is in fact two here. Right, here's a closer look at these two Eastern Newts, if I can get them to come over here to the glass where I'm filming. This actually appears to be a pair here that I accidentally disrupted while sifting through the leaf litter. Got them both in the same scoop, as you've seen. The good news is this female appears to be gravid here already. These newts are the most common newts in the eastern United States. Really widespread. Anywhere there's somewhat clean ponds like this, you can find them. One cool thing about them is they actually have 3 life stages. They start out as gilled larvae, and then they lose their gills and they morph into terrestrial Fs. And during that stage of their lives, they're fully terrestrial, and they can wander long distances over land and either return to the pond they were born in or find a new pond. And that is when they transform into adult newts, which is what we have here. And of course, as adults, they are fully aquatic, and they are going to spend most of their lives in the water once they become adults. But as you can see here, this male has a pretty flattened paddle-like tail. He is much thinner. This female here does not have a tail like that, and she is fatter, obviously. That's one way you can tell them apart. Also, if you look closely at their cloacas here, you see the male's is actually swollen, pretty rounded. If you look at the female, I'm going to try to be gentle with her. Hers is actually flat, so that's how you can sex these guys. The males do a lot of fancy courtship underwater, a lot of tail fanning and stuff, so that's one of the things they use those big paddle-like tails for. But yeah, nice, healthy adult pair of Eastern Newts. I'm going to get some photographs of these two here and put them back and let them get to it. Awesome newts. See who's in this one. Come on, gotta be somebody. Ha ha! Now we're talking. Let's get a closer look. Okay, so this big guy right here is a terrestrial adult mole salamander. Same species as the larvae and the Paedomorphs in some of my previous clips, but as you can see, he looks much different. And of course, he does not have gills, so it's safe to take him out of the water as long as I keep my hands wet. This is a large male here, as you can see by the swollen cloaca. Those become really swollen during the breeding season, which is right now. And even as terrestrial adults, these mole salamanders are super aquatic throughout the breeding season. Unlike a lot of ambystomatids, these actually move to the ponds during winter rains, but once they make it to the ponds, they'll actually stay really aquatic and just stay swimming around in there to breed with other adults and the Paedomorphs until the season is over. And as you've seen, I just took a big scoop, and this guy just was in the leaf litter swimming around. So unlike the spotted salamanders and even tigers and stuff, a lot of the other species of Ambystoma, these will actually stay in the ponds for the entire breeding season before coming out on land and going back in their burrows for the rest of the year. Yeah, really fat, healthy adult mole salamander, pretty long, quite a bit larger than the Paedomorphs. As you can see, just a really big head. These are super cool looking salamanders. The ones up here actually lack a lot of pattern and they're pretty solid colored, but other populations can actually have some blue, gray speckles and can be really attractive. Not that this big guy isn't. He's really awesome. Let's take a look at his belly and see what kind of pattern it has. It appears to be pretty solid as well, but wow, just look at that cloaca. He is ready to breed. But yeah, big terrestrial adult mole salamander. 3 scoops with these guys has produced all 3 life stages here, so really awesome to see. But I'm just going to get some photographs of him and put him back in his pond. Right here is one more look at this big adult mole salamander before I put him back in the water. He is posing here for photos really nicely. But yeah, I'm going to take some photos of him. I don't want to keep him out here in the cold too long because it feels really cold out here. So I'm going to get some photos and put him back in his pond, and we'll see what else we can find. All right, buddy, go find some females for me. Okay, so my hands are almost numb from digging through all of this leaf litter in cold water, but I'm going to give it one more scoop here and we'll see what we can turn up. Oh, that one was clean. Let's see what we got. Nobody yet. Oh, whoa, 2 adults. I think this one may be a female here. All right, I'm going to put these in the container here, and oh, my hands are so cold I can barely use my fingertips, but wow, 2 adults in 1 scoop. I'm going to put them in here. What is going on right now? Let's check this one out. I think this may actually be another pair similar to the situation with the newts. Yes, this appears to be a female here. And I believe this is a male right here. Yep, we have another pair here. So first I net out a pair of Eastern Newts, and next I get a pair of terrestrial mole salamanders. As you can see, the female has a bit more speckling on her side here. The male is more solid colored. Not that that really means anything. The individuals just vary quite a bit here. To my knowledge, both sexes basically have the same pattern. It's just however they turn out as adults. Yeah, I am honestly surprised right now. I did not see that coming. Really just puts into perspective how aquatic mole salamanders are. People think of them as typical ambystomatids that live on land and come to the water to breed, which they do. But this species, once they come to the water, as you can see, they stay in the water throughout the breeding season. So yeah, 2 beautiful adult mole salamanders here. I don't think I can top this. And again, my hands are pretty numb right now, so I'm probably going to call it with these 2. What an awesome day of dip netting. I'm going to get some photographs of these here. I might get another clip or 2, and then I'm going to release them right where I found them and probably call it a day here, but we'll see. Once again, I have run out of daylight, and I am currently driving back down to Atlanta to get some sleep tonight and head out in the morning for some more awesome amphibians. But with that being said, I feel like we are at a great stopping point to end the video here. I am really happy with everything I got today. That was some of the best luck I have ever had dip netting. Basically, every time I put the net in the water, there was something awesome in it, so that was really cool. I'm really glad I got to show you guys that, you know, even in the coldest conditions, with the ponds frozen and everything, there are still ways to play the weather to your advantage and find herps. So, yeah, really fun, productive day. But like, like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, and do all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.